Welcome back, Nick Lenges Comic Corner, Classic / Non-Classic. This is episode number 743 and double shot number 647. 2 Shadowland trades. Yeah, it's the other 2 trades I own. The other ones I don't own. I'm going to tell right now, I don't own the Moon Knight one, Power Man, and Thunderbolt. I do not own those 3. If I get my hands on them, I will read them and review them. Alright, first up, it is Street Heroes, which contains the one-shots. Yep, the one-shots for this crossover. It's for one-shots for Bullseye, Elektra, Ghost Rider, and Spider-Man. Yes, these particular one-shots do expand upon stuff that happens in the main series. In the Bullseye one, the Hellfire Club tried to... not Hellfire Club. The Hand tried to resurrect... well, Bullseye. This is like right after issue 1 because he had just died. And the... Ben Urich is basically forced to come to his funeral. Yeah, Ben Urich plays a role in this crossover. Mainly, he's just the voice of the audience. But yeah. The Elektra one is basically what she was up to prior to arriving in New York, basically building up her role in the story. Ghost Rider is like right after he freed the prisoners in Shadowland, and he's like, he wants to be let go. He's like, nope, not until Kingpin says so. Yep. The Daughters of the Dragon one. The Daughters of the Shadow. This was an interesting little mini-series. It was 3 issues, by the way. Yeah. This one is basically Colleen Wing taking charge of a group known as the Nail, which apparently her mother used to lead for some reason. And her title is Mistress of the Nail. Yeah, and they go on various missions. One point, her lieutenant tries to kill her. And then eventually, even though she kind of declares herself the leader anyways, according to tradition, because Colleen Wing actually did her homework and challenged her to a duel and won. Yep. Basically, it was called the Cherry Blossom Duel. Basically, because even though she quit, yeah, she left because of an assassination attempt. So she beats her, the person she takes with her, along with the rest of the Nail. They go off to do whatever, and Colleen Wing does not play a role in the story at all after that. And who is the creative teams for these particular series? Yep. These particular creative teams. They are the following. Bullseye is done by John Layman. Artwork by Sean Chin. I actually met this guy. I'm signing a Mighty Avengers trade. Elektra is done by Zeb Wells. I'm not surprised because in a few stories with her. Artwork by Emma Rose. Ghost Rider is done by the writer of Suicide Squad, Rob Williams. Artworks by Clayton Claret, which I actually have another couple of trades that actually does have some artwork. The Daughters of the Shadow miniseries is written by Jason Harden, artwork by Ivan Rodriguez. And who does the Spider-Man one? Yeah, I did get a chance to talk about this one. This is done by the regular writer of Spider-Man, Dan Slott. Artwork by Pablo Sakura. Yeah, this takes place after the events of issue 3. Yeah, he leaves the meeting because, and it revealed the reason why he left because he spotted one of Mr. Negative's inner demons. Yep, he spotted it and basically got into a brawl with him. Yeah, mostly about half it's basically a team-up issue with Spider-Man and Shang-Chi. Because, of course, Shang-Chi thought he was being a coward by fleeing. Nope. He spotted Mr. Nega's forces, so I tried to engage him out. He does beat him, and it's a really good story. I gotta praise Slott for writing Shang-Chi really well. Though, he would also write Shang-Chi the following year prior to the events of Spider Island by having Spider-Man develop basically train in martial arts and, well, develop his own fighting style, which is Spider Fu. Yeah. Really good one-shots, and I love the miniseries. The miniseries isn't exactly like expand upon stuff in the action miniseries, the main series, unlike some of the other ones, but it does take place during it, and it's a great little miniseries. Let me show some artwork from some of these one-shots. Also, the Bullseye issue, yeah, there's these guys who want to hold their own funeral for him, even though he wasn't allowed to because, well, he was a villain. But yeah. Here's the artwork for the first issue. They mentioned his time as an Avenger in the issue. Yeah. Also, they have the Shroud show up in one of the issues, which is basically, this is the daughter. This is the Bullseye is. Yeah, Shroud plays a minor role in the storyline, but not exactly a really big role. Here's the artwork from Elektra. This is artwork from Emma Rose. Very good artwork. Gotta praise the artist for this. This is really, really good. Yep, it is. Here's Mr. Charlton Clayton. Yeah, I love this art style. Yeah, this is the same guy who not only do the entirety of X-Force Volume 3, but he would also do the X-Force Sex and Violence miniseries. Yeah, he also did the first Carnage miniseries. Yeah, the first one Carnage had. Yeah, and this artwork is fantastic. So I get a chance to see him if he's listed going to Comic-Con, I'm bringing it straight for him to sign. Yeah, there was one Comic-Con he went to, and I never got a chance to get an autograph from him because I had nothing from him to sign. But now I do. This is done by Ivan Rodriguez. Yep. Yeah, this is his interior artwork. I think the cover artist is different for this one. Yeah, the cover art for this series is done by John Baptiste Adron. The cover artist for, well, Spider-Man's the same person. Clayton Crane does the cover for Ghost Rider. The one for Elektra is Sonic Takada. And the cover artist for Bullseye is John Christopher Taylor. But yeah, this is fantastic artwork. I mean, for a miniseries tying into Shadowland, it is really damn good. And here's the artwork from the Spider-Man one. Now, what rating do I get this thing? 9.5 out of 10. These one-shots are really good. Now let's talk about a miniseries. One of, like, I think this is one, from what I can tell, I think it's one of 4 miniseries that ties into the events of Shadowland. But this one does kind of fill in the gaps in between Shadowland. Mainly some of them take place during in between some of the issues. Now, aside from Dar's the Dragon, Dar's the Shadow, there was this miniseries, all those miniseries for Moon Knight and the new Power Man, who is not Luke Cage. His name is Victor Alvarez, and he's the son of an old supporting character, Luke Cage, Shades. This one is Blood on the Streets. The 4-issue miniseries by Anthony Johnson, artwork by Wilson Ives. This is a 4-person team-up mini. It's kind of like a Marvel team-up type of thing, and also kind of similar to Heroes for Hire. It's basically 4 heroes working together to solve a murder mystery. Yep. A guy has been murdered, and possibly the hands behind it, but it turns out it was done by somebody else. The stars of this miniseries are Silver Sable, Paladin, Misty Knight, and the Shroud. Yeah, this is a really good miniseries, and despite Misty playing a role in the main series, in the case of these other characters, not really. Shroud plays a minor role in the story. In the case of Silver Sable and Paladin, they don't play a role at all. Despite Paladin did make his debut in the pages of Daredevil, and he has a small history with them. Silver Sable does not have a history with Daredevil at all. Mostly her history is tied to Spider-Man, because, well, she made her debut in the pages of Spider-Man comic. Also, apparently her country at this point in time had been overthrown and her embassy had closed, but she bought the embassy, but once the country's fully restored, she plans to give it back to them. Yep. And I gotta hand it to Anthony Johnson. This is actually a really good murder mystery. Yeah, there's clues. Colleen Wing does pop up in here once, but mostly this is all about Misty Knight and her team. The team is never given a name in here, but I kind of think of them as kind of like the Defenders in a way. Defenders or maybe the Marvel Knights. But this team is never given a name in this book. The Shroud himself is a fantastic character. After this, he would later return in Mark Waid's Daredevil run, mainly in the second volume of his run, the volume before the current one. He did show up in there as a recurring character. Yeah, they do find out who killed this particular guy. Yeah, it's actually not done by the hand because it was very sloppily done. It turns out it was actually done by an old friend of Misty Knight's named Ralphie, who's actually an Iron Fist character. Yeah, he made his debut in an Iron Fist story back in the 70s. It's weird though the writer made him a villain. Yeah, it was really weird. I know I'm kind of spoiling it, but the book's been out for 8 years. So who freaking cares? But great miniseries. Daredevil himself does, I think he appears once in this miniseries, but mostly put, yeah, he has nothing to do with the events of this thing. Heck, even the hand point out, though, they had nothing to do with the murder at all because the murder was done very sloppily. And they even mentioned stuff like the Mr. Negative. They reference him in here as well. And they also reference the events of not only the main book, but also the Spider-Man book. Yeah, they reference those in here as well, which I love the fact that the editorial notes in here, which is fantastic. I give this miniseries a 9.5 out of 10. It's really good. So as of right now, I've read almost the entirety of Shadowland, except for Thunderbolts, Power Man, and Moon Knight. I will eventually get my hands on those trades in the future. Probably at next Comic-Con, because I highly doubt Barnes Noble carries them. So probably at Comic-Con, probably find them. I hope to do, because I love Moon Knight and I love Power Man. Yeah, the Power Man series done by Fred Van Lin. Fantastic writer. Should get more little respect. He should be a little recognized his work, because the guy basically loves doing this tongue-in-cheek type of stuff, which I love. Okay? So, until I see you in the next review, bye.